Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Quincy 400 initiative. And I'm just going to take a step back, enjoy the video, and we'll get back in a minute.
John Adams was one of the most important figures in our whole history. It's a responsibility for a town or a city
celebration, and that is important, and we should celebrate. But it's an opportunity for us as a community to step back and say, okay, how can we do better? Where do we want to be as a community in 2025?
Well, they don't cost Quincy the city of presidents for nothing. Two of the first, right, both from the same families, were from Quincy, but John Hancock was also from Quincy. And Quincy was one of those places that played a major role, an historic role in the development of this country.
We as a community should come together and celebrate the tremendous history we have, the 400th anniversary of the settlement of this city by Captain Wollaston, and to take that opportunity to leave it a little better than we found it.
And that's what's so important about the Quincy 400. This is going to bring us all into better focus, to do a better job to sustain not just their memory, but the spirit that they represent, the loyalties they represent, and the patriotism. These were profound patriots.
Well, I also give the mayor and his team credit for recognizing that the clock is ticking. Quincy's 392 years old, soon to be 400, and the mayor's notion that we should spend the next few years thinking about what that all means and what the future should look like in terms of economic development, transportation, neighborhood development, downtown development, and all the rest is a great way to get folks involved in sort of thinking about what the next couple of centuries might look like in Quincy.
How are we going to leave it for that next generation and subsequent generations? That's an important responsibility we all should look at, whether we're in elected office or whether we're just a citizen here in the city that loves this community and something to think about. And that's kind of what we're talking about going forward. Really think about how we want to leave it to that next generation.
Certainly as somebody who's a big believer in the city's past and in its people and in its future, I certainly support the mayor's 400 birthday initiative for the city of Quincy. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's sure to produce all kinds of interesting possibilities for the future.
I think the Quincy 400 project is exciting and worthy. And I will be very happy to participate in it in any way I can to make it as good as we can possibly do it.
It's a celebration we're looking forward to, but it's far more than a celebration. It's really continuing to create and mold the city that we want to be.
Not bad, huh? I could listen to Dave McCullough anytime. Well, tonight I want to talk a little bit about where we go from here. This really is the beginning of a conversation between all of us, with all of us, with the idea that we involve every person that wants to be involved, every part of our city, every neighborhood, to engage, to listen, to participate, and to create and mold what we want the city to be going forward. And that doesn't mean it's something etched in stone. This is going to be continued evolution, if you will, that we're looking forward to start. So I do want to acknowledge some colleagues in the room before we get into the meeting. I see Council Blacknell Warner is with us. I see Norfolk County Commissioner Joe Shea, and the historian of our city, with us. Thank you, Joe. Do we have any other electeds with us? I'm sorry, Emily Lebo, school committee woman, doing a great job on the school committee. Thank you, Emily. Thank you all for being here tonight. So what is it? What do we want to do? As I say, it's the beginning of a discussion. We want to touch all aspects of civic life. We're going to have 6 themes we're starting with. And we're going to listen to a lot of community input. Those themes may vary and change a little bit. Maybe some things get added to it as we have this conversation and engage folks of our great city. So, first theme, really what it comes down to in any city, any good city, any strong city is a city of strong neighborhoods. And we see that in Quincy, surely, in so many ways. You go from beautiful neighborhoods on the waterfront to the hills of West Quincy and everything in between, and there's a great pride within those neighborhoods. People don't just say they're from Quincy. I'm from Howes Neck. I'm from Atlanta. I'm from West Quincy. So there's that pride to begin with in the neighborhoods. And that's something you can't create. That's something that's there. And that's something we want to build on. Because protecting strong neighborhoods is really the most important thing we do. So how do we change in a good way? How do we improve those neighborhoods? What are those issues that we want to tackle? Quality of life issues. And I know we've had discussions in public over the years about development. We want to protect neighborhoods from overdevelopment. You know, we have issues of parking rules and guidelines, different ordinances, trash pickup, tree planting, sidewalks, code issues, enforcing certain codes of the city. Maybe we have a blighted property. You know, how can we improve really the life of living in each of these neighborhoods? Our next one is education. And, you know, outside of public safety, there's nothing more important we do as local government, and that is educating our young people. And as mayor, I also serve as chairman of the school committee, and I tell you, I just love going into the classrooms, particularly with young kids, and see those innocent faces, and take questions, and see the excitement in their eyes, and knowing someday they're going to be here, they're going to be there, and it's going to be their city, it's going to be their turn. But probably my favorite night of the year when it comes to education is when our high school graduates graduate, both the Quincy and North. It brings it all together, all that hard work by our educators, our teachers, the staff, and the families supporting these individuals, and to see them move on to the next chapter in life. That's really what it's all about, and I think we do it well in Quincy. But there's always room for improvement. So how do we improve on the education side? I think we get healthy numbers, the size of classes. I think we get some great programs. But let's engage folks that are in the trenches of education, that have kids in the schools, maybe have a different idea, maybe have a comment that may make a great addition, a great improvement. And in the end, you know, the old Quincy College, which when I was younger was grade 13 and 14. We now have a college that's extremely viable, thriving, and now is going to be granting bachelor's degrees, so 4-year degrees. So it's a college that we're very proud of, along with the NC in our community. So Quincy College will be part of this discussion and how we move forward with education. The next one is his history, and some of these overlap. I mean, there's no way to fit everything perfectly into a particular bucket. There is overlap, there's no question about it. Our next one, history, arts, and culture, is a very important one. I think we know about the history. We just saw a little bit about David McCullough's comments on his feeling about history, and nobody's put the city on the map in modern times more than David McCullough. And the history is unmatched. When you really look around, and since the interim condition of Adams Green, and you walk this out front here, there's a whole different feel with the traffic out of it. You can imagine in your head the feel of those folks that walked before us. Back to the Adamses and Hancocks, they walked these grounds, they walked these areas. This was the focal point. This was the training ground for the militia up front. And the Colonel John Quincy, which is the city's name. So there's so much to do, but we don't have anything to make up. We have great goals. It's all here. We got to capture it. We got to take it to that next level. And certainly having folks like the National Park Service discover Quincy, Quincy Historical Society, Quincy Symphony, Quincy Choral, the Art Association. All of these folks that work so hard on these cultural issues, day in, day out, discover Quincy. Bring all of those together, and how can we take it to the next level? That's a discussion I'm looking forward to. And I think the greatest example of that is what's happening out front. It's that next level, that next step we're about to take. That appropriation that's before the City Council. Councilor DeBona will be deliberating over. We'll create a spot out here that brings it all together as a city. We've got a church as a rotary for the president's work. We've got a city hall that was decrepit in terrible condition. And we've got a cemetery that was let go for decades. Cemetery's been restored. City hall's been restored. A great amount of resources put into the church across the street. Not only a church, but the meeting house and all the history that it carries. By creating the Hancock Adams Green, it physically brings it together. So that when we are preparing for more visitors, what the stop this will be, and then create a year-round visit program in these spots. It's difficult, I know, with the Park Service, with the seasonal homes they care for. There's no reason we can't have a full year-round opportunity for people visiting our city. Just visit this building, the church, and certainly the incredible names if you walk through the cemetery that are resting next door. So we have some work to do, but I'm looking forward to that discussion truly in a great way. The next slide. And again, this is where you talk about the overlap. Nothing fits perfectly in the bucket, but economic growth and tourism. And I know that with the economic growth we're experiencing today, there's some folks that push back a little bit. When is it too much? What are we going to do about traffic? What does it bring to challenges? But I tell you, as a city, if we're not growing, we're stagnant and we're going the other direction. So it's important that we continue with a strong economic growth program, of course, in check and well planned out. So we're going to be looking for great input as we continue to work, whether it's Wallaston Center, which we're preparing a program for the City Council for Nobley District, whether it's the Shipyard, we continue to keep in touch with Dan Quirk and Jay Cashman, and some good things are happening there, and I see a great future there. Whether it's the Brewers Corner area of West Quincy, whether it's Washington Street, Quincy Point, part of Norfolk Downs, all of those areas are very important economic growth areas, and certainly they're viable areas of commerce for our local neighborhoods. Those are very, very important. The tourism piece is huge. Touched on that a little bit, bringing it together up front. We are looking at our 400th. Plymouth is 5 years ahead of us. 1620, so they'll be celebrating in 2020. And I know Carrie, Margaret LaForest, and others have been in touch and will continue to work with Plymouth as well as our state partners, because they're expecting some 7 million visitors in 2020 to Plymouth, Massachusetts. There's no way that Plymouth can handle all that by themselves. So we've got to begin getting ready for that first onslaught, if you will, of visitors that have been looking for other experiences in the region. And that's why the project up front is so important and so timely, for example. So we continue to look forward to, with our partners at the state level in Plymouth, and all those other communities. Boston comes 5 years after us with 1630, and there are a number of communities in between. We have had support from the governor and the state, and hopefully there's going to be the resources made available to us in doing that. One of the things that I'd like to see happen is, we'll get into that conversation, is to create a sister city program. And to start with those countries that really, when you go back in our history, brought the first immigrants, brought the first workers, brought those folks over that built the buildings and the infrastructure and contributed greatly in so many ways. And I think that would be a great way to celebrate a history, reconnect, but also promotes tourism at the same time. So we're looking forward to that going forward. But actually the challenge is going to be, it's probably going to be too many suggestions of too many cities. I'm not much of a traveler, so we'll have other delegations take care of that. I'm sure Joe Shea would love to go to Italy. So we're looking for that as part of the program, but again, we'll be engaging all our partners that are working hard each and every day on those issues. Then, of course, the biggest challenge in government, I don't care what level of government you're at, and that is infrastructure, transportation and capital assets that we have. I was at an event earlier, and the question was about some of the roads, and explaining to folks that it's part of the program going forward. We're an old city, everything underground needs to be replaced, never mind the road itself. We've got all kinds of municipal buildings, schools, firehouses, libraries, police station, park and rec buildings, DPW buildings, that all need attention. All of these are capital assets, they're assets that belong to you, and it's our job certainly to maintain them. But as part of that discussion, how do we take it to the next level? Bicycle safety, pedestrian safety, intersection improvements all across the city. Those are the discussions we'll be having along these lines as well. There's much to do. I don't think anybody questions that there's a long list, but we want folks right out there in their neighborhoods to help solve some of these issues, to help contribute to the conversation that creates hopefully some of the solves. I'm not suggesting we're living in a utopia, and there's always room for improvement, there's always room for conversation, and then out of that, we'll then set the priorities. So I look forward to that discussion as well. The next item is, probably somebody else should speak on this one, health and wellness. I'm sucking it in. But this is an important subject, particularly today, and I know that certainly the millennials, Larry Prendle, what are you laughing at?
Deep ball fish.
But certainly there's a new focus and new emphasis on health and wellness. And that's for the individual, but also for our community. And then this overlaps also with the transportation piece and the infrastructure piece. How do we make it easier for people to bike, to jog, to run in safe conditions without being run over? And we have another great program for the City Council about Marymount Park, which is going to build footbridges and trails that connect 140 acres to provide a tremendous experience for a health and wellness program. That's an example, and there's many examples. We go from obviously Quincy Bay to the Blue Hills, with great opportunity for folks to get out and about. But this will cover all age groups. We're going to be engaging the schools in this part as well, and the other end of the spectrum. For those folks that admit they have visited the Kennedy Center, I see some folks out here that are eligible. There's some great programming going on at the Kennedy Center, and some of that is certainly health and wellness, dementia training. There's so many aspects of this category that I believe we can do so much for. It's a little ironic when I look out my window across the street that Five Guys has replaced Weight Watchers. Kind of goes against the grain here. So we'll figure it out. Looking forward to discussion, certainly, on health and wellness. So what's the timeline? There's an awful lot of topic discussion, a lot of issues. We're a good-sized city. So the timeline has got to be certainly one that is doable. So we're looking at, hopefully you all got a rack card when you come in. The first step out of this is going to be a number of community meetings that are listed on the rack card. And that will be the first engagement, one-to-one engagement. People can go to www.quincy400.com If they can't make a meeting, or they want to weigh in sooner than waiting for a meeting, you're welcome to do it in that light. We want, obviously, we want input. We want involvement. This is an opportunity for people to truly get engaged. This isn't about an administration, an individual. This is about our community. This is about each and every neighborhood and each and every individual that cares about our city. And I know so many folks out there do. So the timeline, we're looking at some workshops to start between May and June. Then we're looking in the fall, out of the workshops this spring, and out of the results of the surveys, we're looking this fall to put together some committees based on the categories I talked about. We're going to be asking folks that have particular interest in some of those areas, if they'd be interested to serve. And then we'll have some folks that will lead those committees and facilitate further meetings out in the public to vet some of the ideas and certainly come up hopefully with some of those solutions. And at the end of the day, we're going to be looking at a report. The first drafts will be out in fall of 2018. And then from there, we'll continue to update it, refresh it, and start to move in implementation. Implementation could be, in some cases, next year, some cases 2 years from now, in some cases 10 or 15 years from now. There'll be a lot to this, so we got to certainly be practical and realistic on the implementation. I do believe that it's time we have a plan going forward, a bit of a roadmap to tie in the celebration of our city with the 400, but really, as we talked about, creating, sustaining that community that we love. So that's the timeline. The schedules, as I said, it's on the board, but you have the rack cards you can take with you. I think this is an exciting opportunity to get involved. There's the website again. There's the opportunity. We want to provide every possible opportunity for people to jump in and seriously get involved. I think it's an exciting time for our city, and you can't help but feel it in this room, the sense of history. And it's not just a sense of history, it's a sense of responsibility. And that baton's been passed to us. And it's our job and our responsibility to do the very best so that the next generation can enjoy and sustain the community that we love to enjoy each year. So, with that, it concludes our, I was told to stick to a half an hour or under half an hour. I'd like to ask those folks that have been involved in planning for this, please stand or raise your hand. I want to thank Mark did a lot of the video, Lisa's photos, Maureen, Lisa, Larry, Chris, so many folks involved in getting us here tonight. A lot of work to go, a lot of work to be done, but I look forward to us coming together as a community and getting it done. So thank you for joining us tonight. If you'd like to join us in the lower level, you don't want to stop at the first floor of the zoning board's meeting. The lower level, we have some refreshments and some t-shirts, and we can talk individually. If anybody has any thoughts and ideas, please speak up. So thanks for listening. Thanks for attending on a miserable night. Let's go. Quincy 400.
Yeah.